far.
We're very far
Harsh
from
reality.
Raleigh, give us an idea of what United Oil and Gas is doing out at sea now. They have a ship out there doing some more in-depth sounding. They say that it's too expensive. They have gotten the license to drill, to get a cylinder to test the oil. They say that is too expensive, so they are doing some different kind of sounding. What effect, if any, does that have on the economy?
Well, I mean, some funds might flow, but the important thing is that what they're trying to do is to see if we have oil in commercial quantity that we have been doing since 1980. Up to now, we haven't found anything in commercial quantities. I work with Petrojam and Petro-Canada and all those projects in Windsor, in St. Andrew in the 1980s.
Yeah.
So what they're trying to do is see commercial quantities that will lead to investments and drilling.
Yeah.
So all these things are preliminary.
So we have to just still keep our fingers crossed.
To see if we find anything.
That argument about 7 billion barrel were down there, that would happen. If
those are just rumors. Yeah.
You're saying they are rumors, right? Yeah. But isn't it United Oil and Gas that is putting out those kind of arguments?
Well, they can't put out the argument so that we have 7 billion barrels. To see if we have commercial quantities. So you can't put a number on it while it's still doing preliminary work. So you don't know. It's an unknown. It's an unknown quantity.
Somebody's saying that the Chinese workers have more discipline than the local workers. But what if we go ahead.
I agree. There are some hard facts which we need to fix. One, the Chinese are given concessions by the government that the local people do not get in terms of equipment and material and one. So that's one. That is part of the problem because they have their money. The next part of it, in terms of the local, the Chinese workers are more disciplined than Jamaican workers because they come from a disciplined society.
Yes,
in Jamaica, I'm gonna work for a stop. So I'm supposed to work me at 8 o'clock and come at 9 o'clock. Then I'm have to drink a kidney stout first. Then I'm have to get a split first. Those are some things that we now face in Jamaica. Yeah. So that is true.
But if we don't fix that rally and allow the Chinese to take all of these work jobs, what is going to happen to our society down the road?
We cannot allow that. So that is why we need to face some of the societal problems that we have, the high levels of indiscipline in our country. Those are some of the things that we have to face because the labor force is a function of what is happening in the country. Right now, Jamaica is a very indisciplined place. Nobody knows discipline. And it comes out with a lot of work.
How do you tell a local man to have discipline when our leaders are not showing that kind of discipline either? Are you saying that there's a lot of discipline from the top to the bottom?
From the top, from the parliament to the household. Yep. We have no philosophy, so you can't have discipline if you don't have no philosophy. Bottom line, Jamaica does a hustle, but everybody does a try cut corners and go through. That is how Jamaica run. And we have to face it. That's what is happening.
Wow. That's a crisis rally.
Of course, it's a crisis, and that is what causes a whole lot of other problems. There's no discipline in the country. Every man just want to get a thing for himself. You see what I'm going, man?
Every man want to get rich quick.
Yeah, man. So if we don't fix that problem, we're going to have a big problem down now. Yeah, them things always happen. Yeah.
Rally,
we have a very indisciplined society.
Let's look at agriculture, food security. Hurricane Melissa came and everybody got plant cucumber, and the government is not in a position to mop up the over amount of cucumber. What is it that the Ministry of Agriculture needs to do now to get food security stabilized in Jamaica?
Well, we can't do it without storage. We have to have storage. We have to have better extension services. We have to have more land. We have to have mechanization. The whole problem and the whole problem related to storage have to play a key role in the development of the agricultural sector. Key.
What about organize how we plant, Ralston, what we plant, what amount at what time? Isn't that also critical?
The extension services that rather than the officers, they have to give the farmers that kind of information, of course. Yep. But at first, the policy priority, we have to take it seriously as a policy. Yeah? And those are some of the problems. There are no policy priorities. The thing that's around free are free for all. Because of the lack of discipline and the lack of philosophy.
But also, Raleigh, when you look at the Auditor General's report coming out of RADA, and the Auditor General says some of the money must pay back, you think those money will be paid back?
No. But we have to fix the problem then. We can't continue to allow those things to happen. We just say, yo, so, business as usual. But here's the problem now. The indiscipline of the society is so deep that the people, because people are the problem. You know?
Yes.
We're telling the people are the problem, right? And some of the things that we don't want to face. Yeah? But the people are the problem. The people only want hairstyle, fingernail, weed to smoke, rum for drink, rum for drink. Yeah? Them matter what's news. They're not business with nothing. So if you're a country where the followership not business with nothing, then the leadership does the whatever they want to do.
So,
and those are some of the things that we want to face. The young people have no business, they have no sense of nationhood. It's just about partying and bling. Yeah?
On what point, Ralston, do you blame the people for what is happening?
At what point?
Yeah, and what are the issues why you say the people are responsible for the lack of discipline that is taking place in our society?
All right. So the people, as I said, they're not paying attention to national affairs. That's the thing. All them know is about the people, is just about bringing. So even if you check it now, school become more like a fashion center than school. Nobody knows that school for learning. I'm more fashion than I emphasize. Yeah? It's all about now social media, bling. That is what is taking place in the country. And part of it have to do because there's no national philosophy right now. Everything just run loose. Yeah? Yeah. We just live for now. There's no planning for tomorrow. Yeah? So we need to face it though. So it's not just about the leadership because of the people employ the leadership. And the people don't hold the leadership accountable because the people too busy being on them phone and I drink rum and I smoke weed and I listen to music. There's not the time to deal with it.
Ralston Hyman with the truth. Ralston Hyman with the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I was saying this morning. We'll see who is here now. Karen, you see her? Alright, so excuse me. Ooh, Ralston Hyman is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. We are the problem. We are the problem. We are the problem. What do you say? We need good leader and are to be blamed because they continue to vote for the same criminals. But you say the same thing. You're saying the same thing inadvertently to what Ralston is saying. You pretty much say the same thing what Ralston say. And that Ralston just say, we are the problem. we alright, so when you look back on the manifesto, and it's so funny that Mr. Golding put out the video he did today because it was so timely. Because I think a lot of people forgot, I think a lot of people forgot just how much the PMP manifesto was going to empower, children in education and everything. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of emphasis placed on empowering the people and putting the wealth in the generational wealth in their hands. You know what I mean?
Alright, so I came to
that was like the main, not partially, that was the actual main thing. Well, listen to this though.
This year is the 50th anniversary of the establishment of the National Housing Trust, an agency of the government of Jamaica that was created out of the vision and commitment of Prime Minister Michael Manley in the 1970s. Over those 50 years, the National Housing Trust has been responsible for the building or financing of over 300,000 homes, touching the lives of over 1 million Jamaicans. The institution of the National Housing Trust is a prime example demonstrating how positive visionary government can transform the lives of the people of Jamaica. Housing means such a critical need and being such a difficult thing for persons who don't have the necessary financial faculty to do it on their own. how they can become owners of a piece of the rock. The NHT has enabled that for so many Jamaicans. And of course, I want to also mention some of the ideas that we have put forward in our manifesto in the recent general elections.
Yes.
To enhance the NHT, we wanted to repurpose it to its original mandate of focusing on affordable housing. In recent times, it has lost its way and ventured into projects involving the building of houses at prices of $30 to $40 million out of reach of ordinary Jamaican people. We want to focus and refocus on the This year is the 50th anniversary.
Sorry, what? No, we have to play that back.
Of course, I want to also mention some of the ideas that we have put forward in our manifesto in the recent general elections to enhance the NHT. We wanted to repurpose it to its original mandate of focusing on affordable housing. In recent times, it has lost its way and ventured into projects involving the building of houses at prices of $30 to $40 million out of reach of ordinary Jamaican people. We want to focus and refocus on affordable housing because that is where there's a huge demand which is not being met currently in the country. We want to stop the annual removal of $11.4 billion each year from the NHT to fund the budget. This has been going on for over a decade now, and it was originally implemented when we were in the most onerous IMF agreement to try and get the public debt down. But since then, it has been continued out of convenience, even though it is no longer strictly necessary to meet any particular IMF target. We want to stop that $11.4 billion annual extraction because it is weakening the financial base of the NHT. We want to use the NHT to provide opportunities for more young people to become owners. We want to establish a fund within the NHT to give grants to first-time buyers of $500,000.
Oh my God, who remember that? Oh my God. Oh my God, bro. Young people, $500,000 grant to pay down on your mortgage if you see the house of your dreams. Normally, that is the actual thing that's most elusive. You know what I mean? That's the thing that's actually mostly elusive when you're talking about getting land ownership. Boy, we really messed up. Y'all really messed up, bro. I'm telling y'all really messed up, bro. Sheesh, boy. Boy, that is sad, boy. That is sad, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, I tell you. Sad. Wow. Let's take that back a little bit.
$4 billion each year from the NHT to fund the budget. This has been going on for over a decade now. And it was originally implemented when we were in the most onerous IMF agreement to try and get the public debt down. But since then, it has been continued out of convenience, even though it is no longer strictly necessary to meet any particular IMF target. We want to stop that $11.4 billion annual extraction because it is weakening the financial base of the NHT. We want to use the NHT to provide opportunities for more young people to become owners. We want to establish a fund within the NHT to give grants to first-time buyers of $500,000 to help them meet the deposit and become an owner of the property that they have a dream to own. We also...
Yo, you know, I'll have to go back to the manifesto video one of these days and just reminisce. And just reminisce like how all of us could have really stepped up our ownership game under the People's National Party. I'm going to go back one of these days and I'm just going to play it. And I'm just going to... Yo, listen, man. Jamaican people don't want no good. We, like Ralston Hyman said it, like we are to be blamed. Mighty God.
Want to make the terms of lending for public sector workers more attractive and rather...
So public sector workers would have gotten a better lending is concerned, like teachers and stuff like that, right? the threshold for them in terms of how much they could actually access would rise. My $500,000, you know. So say for instance, you see the property and it's under the NHT and the property costs 10 million. You would pay 9.5 million because you're gonna get a grant of 500,000. It's not a loan, you know. It's a grant. It's not a loan. You know how huge that would have been for young people in the next 5 to 10 years under PMP. How much people would have gained home ownership. The fact that they had the first in the family also would have helped. You know what I'm saying? Oh, people were going to school already that was first in the family, so it would have been on automatic. I'm telling you, man, listen, bro. But God, God is the um, ultimate ruler of all things. So we understand now. We didn't fully understand then, but I said to you guys, you know, just watch God work. God is in control. I was like, yo, God is up to something, and I'm telling you, we haven't even seen the very, very tip of the iceberg yet, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna see some hell of a things happen in Jamaica this year. Trust me. With these politicians and these corrupt people, oh my God.
Number of proposals designed to do that. And of course, to make houses more affordable, we were going to not charge in the price the value of the land itself. And that would have removed a substantial and meaningful portion of the cost of buying the house and made the house more affordable for the people of Jamaica. These are just some of the things that we had in mind. The rent-to-own scheme for those Jamaicans.
Oh my God. Yo, I feel like more girl, yo. I'm not telling you, like, the rent to own initiative. Jesus and peace, Jamaican people, who don't want nothing. Who don't love nothing good, no wicked. Yo, no wicked, no wicked, no wicked. Jesus. Hey, them are people are wicked, they're 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 wicked. No wicked to themselves, you know? My God. No wonder ABI News never did want to do no more. She couldn't believe so the people them see them are good up. Tangible commitments from the People's National Party. Yo, uno no want no good man. Uno don't want no good. Me nah like.
Who are in the informal economy, self-employed, and can't produce a formal pay slip to prove their income, and are present.
Oh gosh, man! Oh remember? This is huge, you know. Where must I write that saying?
Of the cost of buying the house and made the house more affordable for the people of Jamaica. These are just some of the things that we had in mind. The rent-to-own scheme for those Jamaicans who are in the informal economy, self-employed, and can't produce a formal pay slip to prove that.
Who remember that? Almost Jamaica can provide a formal pay slip. Almost Jamaicans independent and hustle. You know, that's what they call it, hustling, right? How much Jamaicans you know that are independent, don't work for anybody, that are hustling? They don't have a 9 to 5. And they make some of the most money. Them constantly in different things to make things happen for them and their family. Them in a partner, them in all type of thing. Where they go, where Mark Golding say, yo, if you pay your rent on time, we're gonna take that as yo. After a certain amount of time, you start paying mortgage because you've shown us that you're committed and you're able to pay your rent. So the rent will become mortgage. Without a pay slip, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you that this has been the greatest transfer of wealth to poor people ever in a Jamaica history. Yo, this would have been a game changer. I'm telling you. But Jamaica, you don't want anything good. Like, again, today I did my live early this morning and I said to you guys, yo, what is it that you actually want? What you want? Do you want good for yourself? Are you looking past your life? Are you looking like, all right, when I pass away, You know, my children is gonna have a great opportunity to be the best version of themselves if they apply themselves because the opportunities are there. Can you say that no under this administration? Don't answer that. Don't even answer that. Don't even attempt to answer it. It's a rhetorical question. Oh, Jesus.
Their income and are presently not eligible to qualify for a mortgage, we would allow them to go into possession of the house as a tenant. And as long as they met the monthly payments, which would have been fixed at an amount equal to what the mortgage payments would be, after a reasonable period of time of performing those obligations, we would treat that as signifying that they are eligible for a mortgage so they could borrow the money and buy the house of their dreams. These are some of the proposals that we had in mind in keeping with the vision of Michael Manley, the founder of the National Housing Trust. God bless him.
Man, shout out to you, Mr. Golding, sir. No, ladies and gentlemen, PNP Patriots run out, you know. PNP Patriots run out for what's name? Christopher Tufton.
The PNP Patriots Group is calling for the immediate resignation of the board at the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, and the removal of Minister of Health Dr. Christopher Tufton, following yet another damning scandal uncovered by the Auditor General. The Auditor General's findings at audience of its role in holding The Auditor General's findings at UHWI reveal governance failures that demand accountability, reminding the audience of its role in holding responsible leadership accountable. Equipment imported under tax-exempt status cannot be adequately accounted for. Procurement processes are in disarray. Patients suffer while systems fail. This is unacceptable, the Patriots said in a media release. Boards exist to provide oversight, protect the public interest, and ensure integrity. The UHW...
Sorry, guys, my bad. I just need to copy this. Damn.
The removal of Dr. Christopher Tufton as Minister of Health.
Hold up. Moving too fast. Moving too fast. Yes. All right, back up here, sir. The Auditor General, right there.
Health. The Patriots said, healthcare... West Indies. The Auditor General's findings at UHWI reveal governance failures that demand accountability, reminding the audience of its role in holding responsible leadership accountable. Equipment imported under tax-exempt status cannot be adequately accounted for. Procurement processes are in disarray. Patients suffer while systems fail. This is unacceptable, the Patriots said in a media release. Boards exist to provide oversight, protect the public interest, and ensure integrity. The UHWI board has failed on all counts. When basic accountability collapses, the only responsible action is collective resignation. Anything less is an insult to patients, staff, and Jamaican taxpayers, the group said. The PNP Patriots further questioned the government's announcement of yet another review panel in circumstances where multiple red flags have already been raised, including an internal investigation, the Auditor General's report, and a petition from senior doctors, each pointing to a dysfunctional management culture that presided over procurement breaches and serious human resource violations. In any mature democracy, such a convergence of findings would compel the resignation of the Chief Executive Officer and the Senior Director of Clinical Services.
Of course.
Instead, Jamaicans are being asked to accept another committee. The PNP Patriots rejected this approach and described the new panel as little more than a public relations exercise announced only after the Auditor General's report became public and months after the minister was already aware of its contents and the conclusions of the HRCT internal investigation. The broader pattern emerging from the Ministry of Health under Minister Tufton's watch shows systemic failures that require urgent action. Over the years, Jamaicans have witnessed repeated controversies, operational failures, and governance breakdowns across the health sector. From procurement scandals to chronic mismanagement, The common denominator has been a minister who remains in office while public confidence steadily erodes, the Patriots said. The PNP Patriots also raised serious concerns about previous ministerial interference, including the dismissal of a former board that reportedly sought to replace the current CEO. That history now raises a troubling question. Is the minister once again interfering with due process to shield senior managers with whom he is alleged to have close personal relationships?
Manchester boys.
The group added, the minister must now come clean about the nature of his relationships with senior figures at UHWI and explain whether these associations amount to conflicts of interest that compromise impartial decision-making at Jamaica's premier teaching hospital.
Wow.
Leadership is about responsibility. When scandals become routine, leadership becomes the problem.
Right.
Jamaica's health system cannot be reformed by those who have presided over its decline. The PNP Patriots, therefore, demand the immediate resignation of the entire UHWI board, the resignation of the CEO and Senior Director of Clinical Services.
In case you don't know, that's Carl Bruce and Fitz. Me just look it up a while ago. See there? Dr. Carl Bruce, University of the West Indies. Right? He's the medical chief of staff. Key clinical oversight. He has to go. Fitzgerald has to go as well. Fitzgerald. See there? Fitzgerald Mitchell. Them don't call him name, but they are the one. See there? I looked it up. Yeah, man. Chief Executive Officer, CEO of the University Hospital. A man that was not qualified for the job, ladies and gentlemen. Given the job by Christopher Tufton. When we had somebody from the UK that was overly qualified for the job that did not see the light of day, not even a day at office. Christopher Tufton, this is all on Christopher Tufton. Yeah, man. All of it is on Christopher Tufton. So we need his resignation, the entire board, and the CEO and the Senior Director of Clinical Services. Yvonne, good morning. How are you doing? Or good night. It's not, good morning. It's after 12. How are you?
Services. The removal of Dr. Christopher Tufton as Minister of Health.
Yes.
The Patriots said, healthcare is a fundamental right for every Jamaican.
Right.
Our people deserve a system led with competence, transparency, and respect for life, not one undermined by recurring failures, political interference, and weak governance. Half measures will no longer suffice. The audience must recognize that decisive accountability and leadership reform are essential to restoring trust and improving Jamaica's health system. Accountability must be decisive, and meaningful leadership reform is now imperative. Christopher Tufton, PNP Patriots. Comments.
Man, shout out to PNP Patriots, man. Shout out to them. All right. We needed to hear. People needed to hear that. You know what I mean? Now, this one is new. The rule of law is one essential pillar of any democracy. Yo, let me hear what he's saying right here about oversight, guys. He's serious. When I saw this, I said, I gotta look at this.
The rule of law is one of the essential pillars of any democracy.
Awesome.
It is the foundation of good governance, the protection of public resources, and the assurance that no individual or institution stands above accountability. In this framework, independent oversight bodies play a critical role. Among them, the Office of the Auditor General has long been viewed as one of Jamaica's most credible and respected institutions. That credibility, however, depends not only on technical accuracy, but also on transparency, completeness, and public confidence. It is in this context that concerns arise regarding the recent Auditor General's report on the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI. The report indicated that 4 private companies benefited from the use of UHWI's tax compliance certificate in a manner that reportedly deprived the state of millions of dollars in tax revenue. Such a finding points to serious governance weaknesses and raises troubling questions about how public systems can be used in ways that disadvantage taxpayers. Matters of this magnitude go beyond administrative error. They touch on accountability, fairness, and the integrity of public financial management. Yet the companies involved were not named. This omission has significant consequences. When entities alleged to have benefited from questionable arrangements involving public resources are not identified, accountability can appear incomplete.
Of course.
The absence of clear identification creates space for speculation, political interpretation, and public mistrust.
Right.
It may also foster the perception, rightly or wrongly, that some interests are being shielded from scrutiny. Oversight bodies do more than review accounts. They help build trust in public institutions.
Of course.
Transparency is not about sensationalism or punishment in the court of public opinion. It is about clarity, consistency, and ensuring that responsibility can be traced where public funds are concerned.
Right.
Where findings are substantial and due process is observed, disclosure strengthens the rule of law and reinforces confidence in the system. Jamaica's fight against corruption and misuse of public resources requires oversight that is not only independent, but also seen to be thorough and even-handed. The public deserves clarity when millions of taxpayer dollars are at stake. Preserving the hard-earned credibility of the Auditor General's office means ensuring that its reports leave as little room as possible for doubt, speculation, or perceived unevenness in accountability. Auditor General, UHWI University Hospital of the West Indies.
All right. All right. Jamaica fight against corruption and misuse of public resources requires oversight that is not only independent, but also seen to be thorough and even-handed. Well said. The public deserves clarity when millions of tax dollars are at stake. You know what we get instead? We get, this is what Christopher Tufton says instead. Let's play what Christopher Tufton says. He plays it down. He plays down the gravity of the situation. You understand? That's what he does. Let me show you exactly what he does. Right? Because, Jamaican people. Share this live, see me, man. You understand? Share this live. The less people here, the more work we have to do. That's always how it goes. All right, listen to what he says. Listen to what he says. Christopher Tufton.
Health Minister is complex and rooted in long-standing systematic challenges.
Free media is filled with distractions, and unfortunately, it's an opportunity for persons to comment and to pursue their ambitions.
So unfortunately, according to Christopher Tufton, it's unfortunate that persons are able to look into his ministerial antecedents to critique him on these very, very serious issues. It's unfortunate that we have that ability to do that. You see what he's concerned about? He says free media is a distraction. When politicians can be one of the biggest distractions, like he's distracting from the actual substantive issue here and trying to deflect. What? This is what they do.
Dr. Tufton says those responsible for procurement are the ones who should be held accountable.
For example, you have a development program for the university hospital.
You see where he went? Man, listen, it's going to give me great pleasure to go to this next article. It's going to give me great pleasure to go to this next article. Oh my God, this man went away from it, bro.
The Gleaner editorial writes, Auditor General's over the last 30 years, scandals and controversies relating to governance and accountability have become normalized in Jamaica. Over that period, the rate of economic growth has averaged less than 1% per annum. The two phenomena are not unrelated. So, in many respects, is the quality of healthcare received by Jamaicans.
Yes.
Jamaicans tend to think of healthcare in human terms. Doctors, nurses, waiting rooms, hospital beds, and the dreaded phrase, no supplies. But a big story behind shortages in the healthcare sector is the issue of procurement. If the process fails, treatment fails, no matter how skilled or dedicated the medical staff. That is why the Auditor General's recent performance audit on procurement at the University Hospital of the West Indies UHWI, should not be read as just another public sector controversy. It should be treated as a serious national warning. The fiscal body is suffering internal bleeding.
Wanna hear that? It should be treated as a serious national warning. That's how significant what is happening at the UHWI is. Yo, why did it do that?
Editorial UHWI
Why does it do
procurement,
that?
recovery, or funeral. That is why the Auditor General's recent performance audit on procurement at the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, should not be read as just another public sector controversy. It should be treated as a serious national warning. The fiscal body is suffering internal bleeding, and the blood loss is being measured not only in dollars, but in delays, dysfunction, and degraded trust. The audit points to deficiencies in planning, weak documentation, poor transparency in e-procurement, and troubling practices such as procurement being conducted after goods and services were already delivered. There are also findings related to the misuse of UHWI's tax exemption status, leading to losses to the public purse. None of this is a minor bureaucratic sin. It is systemic governance failure in one of the most sensitive sectors of the state, which puts lives at risk.
Want to hear that? It is a systemic governance failure. Christopher Tufton, Andrew Honest, this is a systemic governance failure that put people's lives at risk. Mr. Jamaican Bill Gates. Yo, you tell us, yo, Jamaican better wake up here.
Risk. Chain reactions. Systemic failures are not fixed with outrage alone. And procurement failures oughtn't to be seen as single acts of wrongdoing, but as chain reactions involving bad actors, weaknesses in technology, ineffective governance, and above all, a diminution of trust. Procurement breakdowns always begin when decision-making power expands beyond accountability. If contracts can proceed without complete files and proper approvals, the organization stops being a rules-based institution and becomes a personality-based one, dependent on who is in the room and what they feel like doing. That is a recipe for waste and elite capture.
Mighty God.
The board of the UHWI has a major role to play in rescuing the ugly situation.
Yes.
The first solution is not fancy. It is about discipline. No procurement should pass without a complete and verifiable paper trail.
Right.
Every contract must have a full file, requisition, bidding documents, evaluation report, approvals, contract, and delivery evidence. Where none of these is missing, payments should be frozen until the problem is rectified and responsibility assigned. Procurement needs chain of custody certification, similar to what is required of the police in the handling of evidence.
Oh my God.
Next is technology. Jamaica already has an answer here, the government of. Jamaica Electronic Procurement System, GOJEP. But the audit suggests a serious gap between UHWI's procurement activity and the publishing of those activities on GOJEP. That gap is not harmless. It is an opacity machine. Transparency is not a public relations exercise. It is a vital control mechanism.
Want to hear that? There's no control. There's no control. The control mechanism has been compromised. There's no control. Right? The gap is not harmless. It is an opacity machine. What does opacity mean? It's an opacity machine. You know that article I lie. The quality of lacking transparency and translucence. Damn. Man, listen. It is... Yo... Let's read that again. The quality of lacking transparency. So this is a machine that is well oiled and running really, really well, but it's a machine of no transparency, ladies and gentlemen. Lord have mercy.
Mechanism. The board and the Ministry of Health and Wellness must ensure that GOJEP becomes the procurement system,
Like up the
not
live,
the
guys.
procurement option. A simple rule can change behavior overnight. If the procurement is not on GoJep, where required, then it is invalid. That single...
Wanna hear that? If at the end of Christopher Tufton committee, a recommendation as simple as that is not made, making it mandatory, if there isn't a procurement on the GoJep where required, then any type of procurement is invalid, so you wouldn't get any money from our tax dollars. The government cannot offer you any money. It's a simple rule, can fix it, ladies and gentlemen. Simple. And if documents are forged, then it's another level of fraud. But it has to be on the system. If it's not on the system, then you don't get no money. How about that? And whoever approved the documentation and don't do it properly, we have something called a surcharge. You understand? So if you mess with our tax dollars, you shall be surcharged. You have to go find back your money or go to prison. You understand? And anywhere the money transfer, when the Integrity Commission and Mocha go subs and digging in your financials, anywhere money transfer to who and which family member get this, and if them work now lead up to the type of money where them make, then you know say we are take back our money from them. You never know. A simple fix, man. All you need is political will. You need somebody that actually wants to have a country that is not a skullduggery country, that is not a corrupt country. That is not Andrew Wallace and Christopher Tufton. Their intent is the opposite. You understand? You understand? They don't want a country like that, brother. Mighty God. That single discipline would reduce discretion, widen competition, and make it far harder to hide irregularities behind institutional smoke. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Talk to him.
Single discipline would reduce discretion, widen competition, and make it far harder to hide irregularities behind institutional smoke. A hospital may be a clinical institution, but it is also a public body that depends heavily on taxpayer funding. When annual reports and audited financial statements are not produced for multiple years, oversight collapses because no one can see what is going on in a structured way. It is like trying to treat a patient without lab results. Enforcers. The Ministries of Finance and Health and Wellness must therefore shift from being only funding bodies to also being enforcers. Subventions should be linked to compliance with governance reporting and procurement standards. This is part of good stewardship. The state and taxpayers cannot keep paying for a system whose accountability organs are missing. An important economic truth is that value for money comes from competition, planning, and disciplined contract management. Where planning is weak, urgency becomes a permanent excuse and direct contracting becomes normalized. When this happens, prices rise and supplier capture expands. This is how markets work when the buyer is disorganized. The management of UHWI must be required to produce an annual procurement plan with timelines and procurement methods approved by the board and reviewed quarterly. Direct contracting should become the exception again, with every exceptional award justified in writing and audited. If benchmarking is added for common equipment and works, procurement becomes a disciplined market, not a private arrangement. On a broader level, it must be appreciated that procurement compliance and management doesn't happen in an absence of capability. As the Gleaner has posited in the past, the public sector needs more and better professional procurement officers, especially in the health sector. That means training, certification, and systems that can survive changes in leadership. Jamaica must build procurement institutions with competence and high standards. When citizens see procurement irregularities in health, they suspect more than inefficiency. They lose trust. Often, this is more expensive than any hospital contract. In the end, UHWI's audit should be treated as a turning point. The procurement breakdown wastes time and resources, which may be the difference between a patient's recovery or funeral.
Dang. Wow. Wow. Article. Where's that article? Where's that article? Email show Epstein correspond with scientists about genetic research on elite Jamaican sprinter. What? 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 Bro, what kind of freaky shit is this? Are you serious right now? Well, I know it's a CTAC get leadership change, right? But they must say, no, if you do the cocaine bus. All right, cool. Read that already. I'm not read that again. 4 people. 4 people lost their lives, including a 92-year-old woman in a crash over the weekend. Lord, help us. Help us, Lord. We really need it. Where is this article, man? What's so far down it there? I'm going like someone free up. I wonder if them, it's supposed to done it. So, here it is. This is the dagger in Christopher Tufton's career. This article here, so should be read like 10 times. Big man thing. We can't pin it. I know pin more pin this, on the top of my arm, something, I'm going to pin it later still. Alright. Oh, I'm doing no. I can't. Me say a hoof is stop way. A hoof is slow it down. So I'm gonna just copy this guy. If you feel like somebody in read this article tonight to make a sad mistake. Oh, you remember good. This is what it's all about right here, ladies and gentlemen. Tell a friend for tell a friend for tell a friend. Hear that?
Public concern abounds about a recent Auditor General, AUD Gen, report on University Hospital of the West Indies,
Right.
UHWI, procurement practices. Much off and leg spin deliveries were bold in media, including those using distraction to confuse us regarding AUD Gen's subject and purpose. I listened with amusement on radio to a rambling cover version of It Wasn't Me by Chris Tufton, where he relied on UHWI's regional character, its partnership with University of the West Indies, UWI, making UHWI a teaching hospital, its proximity to privately owned Tony Thwaites Wing, and, the best part, I only appoint 8 members of the board. To obfuscate the fact that AUD Gen was inquiring into expenditure of Jamaican taxpayers' money on contracts governed by Jamaica's procurement rules.
Yo, because Christopher Tufton said that he only appoints 8 members of the board. Then, sir, if the CEO is one of them and the chief medical services executive is the other, then that's pretty much the board. You don't need no more powers more than them the 2 person there for advance any potential alleged interest that you have. Like, what are you talking about? You are directly responsible for the state of UHWI. Alright? And this article is gonna break it down to a T.
Rules. So, what did AUD Gen say was her purpose?
Listen.
The audit evaluated how UHWI managed its procurement activities to achieve value for money.
Right.
It was crucial for UHWI to implement effective procurement procedures that maximized value, minimized waste, and improved efficiency, thereby ensuring public health procurement resources were used to greatest effect.
Ladies and gentlemen, quite the opposite happened. Every single thing here was violated. No improved efficiency. A lot of waste. Value undermined, overpaying. So you know that's a problem. We don't get with taxes them. Tax evasion. no procurement process at all, so it couldn't be effective. Ensuring public health procurement resources were used to its greatest effect. Listen, I don't have to tell you. None of this happened. None of it.
Effect. One more picture, hold it.
You know, this guy that wrote this is full of style. Take a snapshot or a screenshot of this one and look at this article and remember what was the purpose of the audit. And then you'll understand that all of this falls on Christopher Tufton's shoulder. And the board, everybody needs to be fired. All of them.
Andrea,
what's up?
Delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the Gleaners morning and evening newsletters. AUDGen was inquiring into how UHWI spent taxpayers' money, public health procurement resources, in procurement activities. What did those inquiries reveal?
Right.
Deficiency.
Sorry. My bad.
Gordon Robinson, a hospital
Gordon
sicker than its
Robinson, big up
patient.
yourself, my brother.
Published. Sunday. Jen was inquiring into how UHWI spent taxpayers' money, public health procurement resources, in procurement activities. What did those inquiries reveal? Deficiencies in UHWI's governance, procurement, and contract management processes. If not addressed, these could increase risk of corruption and undermine UHWI's ability to deliver quality health care. Watch you now. AUDGen didn't inquire into expenditure by institutions separate from UHWI like UWI or the Wing. AUDGen expressly inquired how UHWI spent Jamaican taxpayers' money. She found procurement
So deficiencies in the UHWI governance, procurement, and contract management processes, if not addressed, these could increase the risk of corruption and undermine the UHWI's ability to deliver quality health care, which is already undermined, by the way. Let's continue. Watch now, Auditor General did not inquire into expenditure by institutions. Like, yo, this is so detailed.
Practices non-compliant with every government procurement rule or guideline. Under the Constitution and Financial Administration and Audit Act, AUDGen is required to audit the accounts, financial transactions, operations, and financial statements of, inter alia, central government ministries, departments, and statutory bodies.
Like up the live, guys.
UHWI is a statutory body established by the University Hospital Act and overwhelmingly funded by Jamaican taxpayers. It's a public hospital subject to AUDGen's monitoring. So no amount of wriggling, obfuscation, and deflection can change the governance reality that the buck for UHWI's ineptitude, or worse, stops briefly at UHWI's board before landing with a resounding kerplop on Tufton's desk. Examples of AUDGen's findings.
Yo, basically, the UHWI board, right, and their head officials. Yeah, man. Oh no. Definitely, I'll get some heat off of this, responsible. But the resounding kerplop. Yo, this article is the absolute best, bro. What? Yo, the man use some words I never like. Kerplop. What the hell? Kerplop is a onomatopic word. A word mimicking a sound using to describe the noise of something falling, specifically when hitting water with a heavy splash and pulping sound. It is also informally used to describe a sudden heavy drop or a sudden dramatic loss of interest in something. Yo, so you guys see why I am so hyped about this article. Kerplopped. You know, say a booming right in a... Yo, the blame drop right palm Christopher Tufton kerplopping, man. You can't escape. You know, escape, brother.
One, major gaps in UHWI procurement management, key documents missing, was compounded by the absence of basic needs assessment and procurement planning. What the actual first lug in her? For fiscal year...
Yo, you got it, bro. Bro, major gaps. This is a reaction from the auditor now. What the actual first login? Yo, let me show you guys what first login means. Alright, I want you guys, if you don't know, just like how I learn, you learn. Look at what this means. Just look at what this means, right? First login is a Yiddish derived slang term polarized by Mad magazine in the 1950s, used to describe something as beat up, well worn, worthless piece of junk. It can also denote something absurd, crazy, untrustworthy. It is commonly used as a humorous identifier, similar to wretched or dummy. Mighty God, if this is not the proper context, what the first login? What? Yo, what the first login, bro? Humorous intensifier similar to wretched or dummy. Right? A beat up, well worn, or worthless piece of junk. Damn. Damn, bro.
Years 2018-19-2024/25, no formal strategic procurement plan was submitted. But since no needs assessment was done before procurement, it was unlikely procurement plans existed. What's the big deal about needs assessment? AUDGen's report. Needs assessment typically begins with establishing clear strategic and operational objectives, defining procurement goals, requirements, and specific targets. It then involves developing comprehensive procurement plans with which detail strategies, timelines, and budgets to guide procurement activities effectively. Strategic planning is essential for guiding the operational plan, which determines procurement requirements and ultimately leads to the development of a comprehensive procurement plan.
So, fiscal years 2018, 2019, 2025, no formal strategic procurement plan was submitted. But since no needs assessment was done before procurement, it was unlikely procurement plan existed. Because you know that people actually gave out contracts without procurement, right? They did procurements after the contracts are already given out. And was trying to line up the papers them. The amount of skullduggery, people need to go to prison for this, brother. Real thing.
Plan. For 2018 to 2025, none of this was shown to AUDGen. Despite having paid two consultants a total of $186,600 to conduct strategic and operational reviews in 2022.
Yo, you know how much people right now need 186,000 US dollars in Jamaica? You know how much people right now would that take 5 grand out of that? Like, divide that in a 5 grand. Divide 5 grand in that. You know how much people that take 5 grand US right now, bro? You know how much people that take 3 grand US right now? Money wasted, Absolutely wasted, Because the recommendations came from the consultants and they were not implemented. The man them just want to appear to be doing their job, ladies and gentlemen. Mighty God, man. And this just happened on a Christoph Tan's watch. US $186,000. I'm going to divide it by 3,000. Look, hold on. Play the tape.
In 2022 and 2024. Instead, UHWI sent AUDGen a 5-year budget, which included an overall corporate plan without showing how UHWI's procurements fell within that plan. It also presented 2 annual plans not approved by UHWI's board. Did UHWI boards not ask for these legislatively mandated procurement plans? Didn't they wonder how come so much equipment and tools were procured without them seeing one procurement plan based on a needs assessment? Didn't they report this glaring failure to Minister? Didn't Minister ask for at least annual reports from UHWI's board? Who approved the employment of these consultants to review non-existent strategy? Did the board know? Did Minister know? What did the consultants report advise?
Yo, you see these line of questioning? Destroys any excuses that Christopher Tufton conjures up. When you find the answers to these questions, there's only one option. Christopher Tufton must resign. There's only one option, ladies and gentlemen. Telling you.
I recall, apologies for personalizing this, decades ago, as executive chairman of a high-profile statutory board, I personally sent the minister a monthly report of the organization's activities. I considered it an essential part of the job, especially as I'd insisted he not try to help me do the work. What was UHWI board doing? Taking tea? For the past 6 years, UHWI submitted 0 annual reports detailing how $65 billion in subventions were used. This isn't petty cash. It's taxpayers' money for which UHWI must account.
Yo.
2. Government's electronic...
Yo, the man say, Mr. Garden say, yo, what was UHWI board doing? Taking tea? This is what the consultants advise. I recall. Apologies for personalizing this. Decades ago, as executive chairman of high-profile statutory board, I personally sent the minister a monthly report on the organization activities. I considered it an essential part of the job, especially as I'd insist he not try to help me to do the work. So why is it that this board is not sending, and why is Christopher Tufton not requesting it? Why is he not requesting a monthly report? How does this continue to go on for years and years and years? And Christopher Tufton wants to be recused of any type of blame. Him madman. Him sick in his head, man. Simple Pebbles, what's up? Him crazy. Simple Pebbles, me there about in midnight aisle pan that topic, yeah. Me nah lie. Me really want the Jamaican people to wake up. I'm telling you, this is crazy, bro. This is crazy, fam. Real talk. No look a joke about it. For the persons over by Bolo V&R clips, yeah, me soon tell you no one to come over Bolo V&R 2.0.
Procurement portal, GoJEP, wasn't used consistently to publish and report procurement activities. AUDGen, as of June 10th, 2025, the HWI conducted only 71 procurement activities on the platform, while 800 procurement activities, valuing over $1.6 billion, were reported to the Integrity Commission for 2024. Only 20 were recorded on GoJEP.
Mighty God.
So how were 780 procurements managed? How were the public given the opportunity to tender? How can $1.6 billion in government contracts be awarded using such nebulous procurement practices, but nobody knows? AUDGen found. The procurement guidelines specified the methodologies.
Yo, make that digest. Right? As of June 10, 2025, UHWI conducted 71 procurement activities on the platform, while 800 procurement activities valuing over $1.4 billion were reported to the Integrity Commission for 2024. That a 1 year, you know. Yo, me say, Father God, no, sir. I wonder why the services in the hospital is the way they are. And they made it seem as if that PMP was trying to win an election and they didn't have genuine flipping concerns like this. Yo, them people are some drunk, man.
Methodologies to be employed for acquiring
That piss
goods.
me off. It piss me off in a real life, brother. Them people forgot
The
prison.
procurement guidelines specified the methodologies to be employed for acquiring goods, services, and works, depending on their respective value thresholds. These methodologies included international competitive bidding, national competitive bidding, restricted bidding, direct contracting procurement, and emergency procurement. We requested a copy of UHWI's contract register for 2019 to 2024.
Oh my God, is that my baby Sassy 81? Oh my God. Big up yourself. Sassy 81, what you doing up so late? UHWI was feeding. What? Somebody say UHWI was a feeding tree for tough time. Not my word. Not my word. That's a comment.
We requested a copy of UHWI's contract register for 2019 to 2024. In July 2025, UHWI provided a listing of only 157 contracts, each exceeding $3 million, awarded between 2019 and 2024. The procurement methodology for the selection of the contractors was not included, my emphasis. UHWI was unable to provide...
Pause. The procurement methodology for the selection of contracts was not included. All the money, bro. I'm telling you.
Provide a comprehensive register of relevant contract details, such as start and finish dates, contractor names, contract values, and duration. So, an arbitrary procurement strategy was standard operating procedure at UHWI. How is this possible? Why was oversight so religiously lacking? Surely it can't get any worse? But I've told you never to challenge worse. Here's worse. 3. UHWI improperly used its tax exemption privilege, allowing 4 private companies to avoid more than $23 million in import duties. What?
Yo, whoever write this, yo, Gordon, bro. Oh my God, this dude is amazing. No, but it's not funny though, you know. I'm just laughing at the artistic manner in which he made this article entertaining. I am entertained. I don't know about you guys, but there was not a dull moment when I was reading this article. It had me going to the dictionary. I was like, what the hell is this word? What does this mean? First time see this word, and then to see the word and know the meaning and know that the context in which it was used was accurate and it followed the argument. I'm telling you, absolute genius. Absolute genius, bro. But I mean, $23 million of import duties, that was, pretty much given away. You understand? So we lost $23 million as a country, bro. Because of thievery and skullduggery in UHWI. Yo.
What? AUD Gen found 6 instances in which UHWI utilized its tax exemption status to facilitate importation of goods belonging to 4 private companies, resulting in significant financial losses to government. Specifically, UHWI used its tax exemption status to facilitate importation of laundry equipment, with CIF valued at approximately $28 million for private company 1, yielding an estimated tax benefit of $6.6 million.
Wowzer.
Similarly, the misuse occurred with importation of office furniture and medical equipment CIF value $40.6 million, cups and dishes CIF value $1.41 million, resulting in revenue losses totaling $10.7 million, benefiting private companies 2 and 3. These actions suggested an abuse of UHWI's tax-exempt position to facilitate private entities in evading taxes. Finally, Wesser. UHWI procured 40 waste bins from private company for CIF value $6.6 million. The transaction received customs duty waiver of approximately $3 million. However, UHWI paid the private supplier $11 million plus additional costs for the said waste bins. There is no evidence UHWI used the competitive procurement process. Need I say anything more?
Brother, yo, we don't need to hear nothing more. Right? Like, seriously.
More? Unless AUD Gen is reporting from the loony bin, one of the 40 bought from Company 4, somebody should go to prison. How did Health Ministry respond to these egregious breaches of public trust being exposed?
Let's go back. If basically what he said at the top there now, if the Auditor General is not crazy, right, and it's just reporting nonsense and not factual stuff, if this is in truth facts, people need to go to prison, right? People need to go to prison. How did Health Minister respond to those egregious breaches? Listen to this.
Statement January 14th. The Minster has taken immediate steps to address the governance and accountability gaps highlighted by the audit report. Steps? What steps? The appointment of an institutional review committee. Well, kiss my red, wrinkled rungus kungus me nungus. After trotting out names of eminent Jamaicans with impeccable...
That literally had me like almost falling off the chair, bro. Oh my God. What kiss? Well, kiss me red wrinkles, rongos, kungos, minongos. And to hear the AI say it, this is tough, bro. Nah, this is tough. This is tough.
What steps? The appointment of an institutional review committee. Steps? What steps? The appointment of an institutional review committee. Well, kiss my red, wrinkled rungus kungus me nungus. After trotting out names of eminent Jamaicans with impeccable credentials to so impress us we might ignore the real issue, Tufton declared his committee's remit. 1. Reviewing and identifying gaps and or weaknesses in UHWI's corporate governance and management structures, financial, public procurement, and administrative management systems, corporate risk management systems. 2. Providing recommendations on possible changes or adjustments that might be necessary to mitigate, manage, or eliminate the risks associated with the findings of the audit and strengthen governance and accountability. 3. Providing recommendations on mechanisms to implement the Auditor General's recommendations. This egregious exercise in artful dodging is a colossal waste of these individuals' time. Item 1 is already done by AUD-Gen. Items 2 and 3 already exist in public procurement rules, regulations, and procedures. The problem is they've been routinely flouted. We don't need another political musical chairs game obfuscating issues and delaying accountability.
Obfuscating issues. I forgot to tell you guys the meaning of obfuscating. That's another word that was used about 3 times in this. It means to make obscure, unclear, or unintelligent. So it's basically gibberish. He just said a lot of stuff to confuse you. When none of it doesn't even make any sense what he's talking about. He was diverting away from the actual issue that the Auditor General report actually brought up. You understand? So he's saying, Mr. Gordon is saying that number 1 is already done. Number 1 is the things that he seeks to actually get done with this committee, right? Review and identify gaps or weakness. The Auditor General already reviewed that, right? And then item 2 and 3 was done. Is already exists. The public procurement rules and regulations and proceeds is there. All they have to do is actually do it because it provides it says they want to provide recommendation on possible changes or adjustments that might be necessary to mitigate or manage the eliminate the risk associated with the findings. All them have to do is follow the procurement rules. And it will definitely do that and providing recommendations on mechanism and implementation of the audit. The CM rules them, brother. The CM rules them. Follow the rules and everything will be good. That's it. Right? I want to tell you, this article is on point.
Accountability. UHWI is sicker than its patients. If we weren't living in Wonderland, every alphabet soup police squad would be treating UHWI like SSL.
If the people were not blind, this UHWI thing is like SSL. He ain't lying, bro. He ain't lying.
SSL, Appointed board members would immediately resign for dereliction of oversight duty, and the committee would be appointed in their place. Peace and love. Gordon Robinson is an attorney at law.
Yo, big up, yo. Let me see who this person is. Yo, Gordon Robinson, sir. You are a scholar and a gentleman. You hear what I said? A scholar and a gentleman. I hail you, sir. Salute, Jamaica. Alright. Oh, he's an attorney at law and he works at the cleaner. Is this him? Gordon Robinson. No, I want his picture. I want his picture, not the article that he wrote. I don't think this is Gordon Robinson. I don't think that's him. Attorney at law. This is definitely not him. That's because Andre exposed that guy on a video. Interesting. Can't find it, but this conclusion is quite serious. I was laughing and everything. It was entertaining, but yo, listen. This part tells you everything, right? If the Auditor General is not living in cuckoo land, right? If the Auditor General, this part right here, need I say more? Unless the Auditor General is reporting from the loony bin, one of the 40 garbage bin number them buy, bought from Company 4, somebody should go to prison. You see, somebody in a big old capital, somebody should go to prison, ladies and gentlemen. I agree. I absolutely agree. But man, I'm gonna take myself to bed, man. Teacher charged for following breaches of the Firearms Act. That's teacher with them to catch with the firearm. TAJ report successful implementation of the EMRC system. What is the EMRC system? Totally digital, where your car, motor vehicle registration certificates is concerned. Hey, digital. Damian Mania. And let me tell you something. You see, if these people had given us an option, just like in COVID, they tried to present it in a way where, listen, you guys really don't have an option. You must take this. Any sort of activity like that, I reject it, ladies and gentlemen. I reject it total. I reject it wholeheartedly. You know what I said? Yeah, man. Wholeheartedly. I mean, I heard some rumors swirling around about Cliff Hughes, and people was asking me, yo, is it true that Cliff Hughes is no longer with us? I said, listen, I don't believe that. It's too, it's too just like that. Nah. You would have heard breaking news nationwide would have come out. Sombering, I mean, it would have been a spectacle. I'm telling you. You would have heard the Prime Minister give some type of speech, you know what I'm saying, in regards to what took place. It wouldn't have just gone down that way. And congratulations to Kez Nandi, right? He won I believe he won a Grammy. You know what I mean? So congrats to him. I don't recognize the Grammys because of what they did to 50 Cent. Yeah, I'll never forgive them for that. They have no credibility where that is concerned. Say what you want about 50 Cent, but you know, that year when he came out, nobody was touching 50. I'm talking about in the music game. This man was a burning phoenix that rose higher and higher with every step. He couldn't do anything wrong, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Yeah, so I'm not a fan of the Grammys, to be quite honest with you. I really am not. Even Eminem talks about it. Even Eminem talks about it, right? Anyway, I want to thank you guys for being here. TikTok, I'm sorry I started late. I only was on here for an hour and 35 minutes. Yeah. So my battery is dying over here on Bolo V&R clips. Yo, see y'all later, man. Appreciate y'all. All right, TikTok, big up on yourself. Bolo V&R 2.0. Easy fix. Look more here. Look a bit later, people. Yeah. Sassy 81. See you later, guys.